And today, December 16th, is actually Victory Day of Bangladesh. Now, for those of us who have grown up in Australia, who had parents who grew up in Australia, it is sometimes easy to take for granted the lasting impacts of war and the effects that really brutal conflict right on your own doorstep, how far reaching it can actually be and what kind of effects it can actually have. In 1971, a massive genocide took place in Bangladesh, and about 3 million innocent people were killed during the liberation war that lasted some 9 months back in 1971. Today in Bangladesh, as I say, there is Victory Day, a celebration of the end of these mass killings and a time to reflect on what actually happened. We're speaking now to Sahid Sadruddin, whose father was a program organiser and the deputy director at Rangha Betar, a popular radio station operating in Bangladesh at the time. During the conflict, his father was arrested, tortured and brutally killed by the Pakistani army. So to share his feelings, he joins us on the line now. Sahid, good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks very much for joining us here on the Daily. Now, as we mentioned, today is Victory Day in Bangladesh, but for yourself, what kind of feelings do you have on it, given that your father was actually killed during this conflict, this genocide? I would imagine some fairly mixed feelings looking on a day like today.
You are perfect. Actually, these days when comes, every year to our lives, and definitely it become a mixed feeling. But absolutely, I'm so happy to these day because this is the day of the victory of Bangladesh after a very big fight against the Pakistan military, and for this reason we become independent that time, and that's why that Bangladesh we got. And at the same time, we feel those who lost their relatives, friends, that time that war. We feel the pain. We can remember the face we lost, and this is really unbearable. But still, we are happy.
Now, your father was a key player in the building of modern Bangladesh, but he was killed. He was tortured and killed by the Pakistani army. Of course, you would demand justice. Can you tell us more about the crimes tribunal that has raked these things over?
The International Crimes Tribunal Bangladesh is a domestic war crimes tribunal in Bangladesh, set up in 2009 to investigate and prosecute suspects for the genocide in 1971 by the Pakistan Army and their local collaborators. Though the main culprits of the war criminals, the Pakistan soldiers, remained out of the reach of these courts. In 2008, Awami League, the present government, the Awami League as political party, they won with a big victory. And, their election agenda was to set up a tribunal to implement the war criminal trials. And since then, it has been started, and still that is in under process. So we see the justice after a long time, after say 40 years, the war criminal is now under the trial. And this is really our, what should I say, is one kind of achievement. After a long wait, we are seeing this thing.
Yeah, as you say, 40 years there, and with these key operators in this genocide we saw back in 1971, still on the loose for many, many years. It must be quite a satisfying feeling, I would imagine, to finally see these crimes actually recognised. I guess just to see that they are recognised in that sense.
Yes. The liberation war in Bangladesh actually was a revelation, and the armed conflict sparked by the rise of the Bengali nationalist and self-determination movement in East Pakistan and the genocide of 71. It resulted the independence of People's Republic of Bangladesh, the event of the 9-month war of Bangladesh liberation. So it's a huge thing because that time, if you go to the history, you can see that we lost our 3 million people, and more than 200,000 women were raped in that Bangladesh, and 1 million people become refugee to India at that time. So, in a word, it was a massive.
Now, you yourself are actually living in Australia. I understand your mother still lives over there in Bangladesh. What are your feelings on it this day and age? Obviously, coming to Australia where we haven't seen this kind of conflict. We don't have this kind of modern era conflict in our history. Back there in Bangladesh, I imagine for people like your mother, the scars are still quite fresh.
You are very much right. In these days, not only these days actually, all the time, I remember not only my mother, the people like my mother, I mean the women. And honestly speaking, if we see just after the history of the 1971 in Bangladesh, so a lot of widow women, they actually struggle too much with the family because Bangladesh from not kind that much of welfare country. I mean, there is not much of help from their state, so they actually struggle a lot to make their kids grown up and also meet the need of daily life. So after that time, 71, they are struggling, and I especially feel for my mother and also the women like my mother, those who experienced same in 71. So it's really, you are very much right that I feel for them too much, and I also miss them in these days highly.
But of course, on a day like today, so important to remember. I guess this martyr, your father was one of the martyrs who was lost in trying to make a difference in Bangladesh, and obviously there is that spirit of liberation that lives on in modern Bangladesh. How, as an Australian migrant, do you keep that kind of spirit alive in your own community?
Here, actually, in every cities in Australia, we have the Bangladesh community here. So we celebrated the many cultural program, and we meet each other in many functions. So especially in these days means Victory Day, or the Language Day. So in these days, actually, we exchange our views, and we discuss about our history, and definitely especially the boys and girls, those who are born here, and they grow here, they can know the things, which is the big, which has very big significance.
Know their history.
Yeah, so they can know it from these programs. So I can say here, in Australia, in Sydney, there is Bangla Academy, one organization, Bangla Academy International. They are doing very good role to know the language, Bangla language here for the new generation, and also they're exercising many cultural activities here. Basically, this is from the culture from Bangladesh. So this is a good thing that we are doing this kind of programs just to inform our next generation, our history, and our values. Values means the ethnic values. So this is a very important thing from my view.
Well, Shahid, I really appreciate you coming on this morning. It's a heck of a story, and really do appreciate you coming on for Victory Day. You have a fantastic day, and I hope that there is some sort of form of celebration that you can have in that sense.
Yeah.
You have a very good day, mate.
You too. Thank you very much.
That was Shahid Sadruddin speaking to us there about Victory Day in Bangladesh. As we say there, his father was a program organiser and deputy director at Ranga Batar, the radio station, and tragically killed, arrested, tortured, and killed by the Pakistani army.